welcome to From the Ham Shack with NJ4Z, and today we'll continue our discussion about phased vertical arrays, so stay tuned. Hey, NJ4Z here. Welcome to my ham shack, and today we're going to continue our discussion about phased vertical arrays. Continue the discussion we had last time when we showed you the relay box we built for Callum M0 MCX DX Commander and the 3-element triangular array. Now, phased verticals are really cool antennas. Build them pretty inexpensively and you can get a lot of benefit from it, especially for somebody who's doing like a POTA activation. If you want a little extra gain, set up a 2-element we're going to talk about for phased vertical, and you could probably have a lot of fun. And for that matter, you could phase dipoles. We could talk about that too, but let's stay with phased verticals for today. I'm going to switch my screen real quick to this one. Yep, that's the right screen. Okay. So what we have here is construction of 2 phased verticals. So we have 2 radiating elements that are standing vertically, a quarter wave between them. We're going to install optimally 2 wavelengths of the operating band for radials. So if it says 20 meters, we want to look at 40 meters of radials underneath this thing, and that could be 4 10-meter radials, 8 5-meter radials, 16 2.5 meter radials. I wouldn't cut them any less than 2.5 meters. Okay, things start to get a little hairy when you shorten them that way. I don't think they're as efficient. I don't think they bring you as much. So just remember 2.5 is your minimum, and you want 2 wavelengths. So 20, 40 meters, 40, 80 meters, 80, 160 meters. That's kind of the break-even point for effort versus reward. We'll have a relay box in the center, equal lengths of 50 ohm coax to each feed. With that relay box, we'll have a phasing cable, which will be a specific cut for a specific degree. And then we'll have a coax feed to our transmitter, and we'll have a control cable that goes from the relay control box to the relay box. You can do this a myriad of different ways, but for right now, for our purposes, we'll just talk about it being a relay box and a control cable. Okay. Now, I'm going to bring up this in MMA, drag us over here. Okay, so this is our 2 phased verticals built for 20 meters, quarter wavelength apart, 2 feed points here, and we're going to look at the geometry real quick. Okay, so you can see we've got them approximately a quarter wavelength apart. These are probably a little bit short. I'm going to make these 5.02. 5.02 just for giggles, because I think this is going to be a little short if I leave them at where they were. And let's do a calculation at 14,150, kind of towards the center of the band. 14,175 is actual center. So let's take a look at that and do a start. Yeah, the SWR isn't too bad. Like I said, it's probably a little bit short. And what we get is a far field plot that looks like a big egg. Okay, so if we look at it in 3D, there's our 2 elements. Okay, we'll roll it over this way a little bit and tilt it down. Okay, so we got this egg shape, and the max gain points are perpendicular to the axis along which the elements are established. Okay, so we've got both those installed along the x-axis, and we see gain is along the y-axis. Let me close this 3D map. Yeah, see. So the elements are this way. We're getting gain, max gain in these positions. So it's like 2.5 dB. So that's not bad gain for 2 elements. Not much better than a standard vertical, but we're talking omnidirectional. So if we do what they call the Chrisman method, where they use 71 degrees as your phasing angle, right? And we hit calculate now and do the same thing. We get a lot of gain here. We go 2.5 to 6.8, but we're going to push that all in one direction. Yep. So we get somewhat of a cardioid pattern with a null here, deep null here, and somewhat of a null on the back. Most of the gain is going along that x-axis opposite the phased element. So if we look at this in 3D, here we go. Here's our phased element here, and we're pushing out that way. So pretty cool looking pattern here. You know, would be fine to use, right? We got 6.1 dB of gain. We've got about 8 dB front to back. If we look at the elevation, that's 23 degrees, so that'd be good for a lot of, you know, short haul DX and continental US stuff or continental Europe stuff. If we go to 5 degree for long haul DX, we're getting 0.6 dB, negative 0.6 dB, which is going to be about 5 dB better than a standard vertical. So yeah, that's enough gain to go ahead and start messing with this antenna. Well, doing research for the video, I ran across another YouTuber who has a channel out of Scotland. His name is Colin, C-O-L-I-N. That's Charlie Oscar Lima India November. His call is Mike Mike 0 Oscar Papa X-ray, MM0PX. And again, he's in Scotland, and he was using something a little different. He shows you the build on the box and everything. Pretty neat antenna. Instead of using 71 degrees, he was doing longer phase lines for the feeders. Instead of 84 degrees, he was using 156 degrees. And he was using 39 degrees as his phasing angle, which I thought was really interesting because that's quite a small angle. But it turns out to be really quite good. Now, we lose about a half dB of gain, okay? But when I show you the pattern, you'll see why I'm excited about this, okay? We pull the far field plot. That's a pretty darn impressive pattern, okay? I'm going to go back and just run this at 71 degrees one more time before we do this, because I didn't talk about the beam width, okay? So beam width being 3 dB down from the max gain point. So we got 6.1 dB, and if we go 3 dB down, okay, so 3.1, the easiest way to just read this Gmax minus GA, and when it reads 3, that's the one side of your beam width. So you got 61 degrees here, right? And then you got 61 degrees on that side. It's 122 degrees of beam width. Not bad. That would get you 200 and, what did I say, 126, 240 degrees out of your compass of 360 degrees. Not bad at all. But let's go back and change that back to 39 degrees and do the calculation again so we can get the plot up. Okay, so we lose a half of a dB here, but we gain a huge amount in our beam width. So now we're at 75 degrees here, okay? So 75 degrees at 3.0 dB down, okay? So that means we got 75 on this side, okay? It's 150 degrees. So now you're talking about covering, you know, almost half of the circle on one side. So this is almost universal coverage across the band, or across the globe, for pointing this thing. Now, it's not quite, but it's close enough that would be worthwhile building. If you look at the 3D plot, it's a pretty nice pattern, really kind of nice pattern. I would be excited to have a pattern like that, okay? And if we look at the elevation, 5 degrees, yeah, we're down a little bit on this setup, and that's probably due to the phasing angle. We're only about 4 dB better on the long haul DX. So 45 might be the better pattern for long haul DX. You know, 39 might be better for the coverage, for area of coverage. It's going to be a choice between you. I'd maybe carry 2 phasing cables if you build the box, and that way you can play around with it and see which works better for you and for your application. So while I was thinking about that, and I was so surprised to find out he did that, I went back and pulled up Callum's model, and we take a look at Callum's model. We had, let's see, here it is. Okay, so here's Callum's model with the 3 elements, okay? Quarter wavelength apart, relay box, you know the drill. Each of them fed with equal lengths coax, 2 wavelengths of radial field underneath. Connections, you know, the whole works. So I'm going to drag over our antenna, and you can see the 3 elements with the feed points underneath each one. We go to the geometry. I'm going to take these phasing angles out right now, okay? And I'm going to put in what Callum said was 45 is what he would like to run it at, or what he thought might be a good run. So we run it there, and we get a nice pattern. Okay, 6.3 dB beam width of, where are we at? 90 minus 32, so that's 8, 18, 28, 38, 48, 58, so 116 degrees. So let's call it 120 for general ease of math. Okay, and we get a front to back ratio of about 14. So really good pattern for that. Now if we change this and we go to 39 degrees and calculate again, lo and behold, we get a little better pattern. Okay, 6.2, again, we're down just a little bit on the gain, but our beam width is now 29 degrees. So that's 11, 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, so 122 degrees, and we get 15 dB on the backside. So that's a real useful pattern when we're talking about this. Now, one of the tricks with MMA&A that you can do if you want to look at a bunch of different patterns and not keep going back and forth, if we do this for the full bandwidth, so that gives us 7 through 7.4, which is wider than the band here in the US. I know in Europe you're 7 to 7.2. Here in the US we run 7 to 7.3. If we run a detailed response, we get our curve, and you look pretty much with this antenna, we're below 2.0 across the whole band, except for this little segment of the CW portion of the band. But you know, you're close enough here. We can adjust it probably just a little bit and swing it into so that it's all with under 2. But if we look here at the far fields, we can see all the different plots. Okay, so 7.1 looks like that, 7.2 looks like that, 7.3, 7.4. That 7.3 plot's probably pretty interesting too. It flattens out, so I want to take a look at that real quick. 7.3 and do the start. We lose a little bit in the gain, but we get a little better back front to back. So just interesting. 45, 39. I think 39 makes the antenna a little better for what I would use it for. So I would probably run at 39. So hats off to Colin, MM0OPX, for his great video. And he did 156, 156, and 195 if you do the math. And we go to calculation, and we're going to get the same pattern. Yeah. Let's do this to 7.25. Let's look at this. Well, that's a really nice pattern there. Boy, oh boy, I'm glad I looked at that. Okay, so 6.2 on the front side. We're getting a front to back of 24 dB. Boy, that would be really good in a contest, and because you're going to have big isolation back here on this null. Beam width is going to be, ooh, it's pretty wide too. Holy smoke. 30, so what is that, 60? Yeah, so 120 degrees across there. So that's a really nice pattern. That's going to give you full 360 degrees of coverage. Man, heck of an antenna. I think I would build it that way, at least for me. Okay, one more to look at just quick, and it's a project that I'm working on myself right now. Pull this up real quick. Oh, that's the wrong button. There we go. Okay. So this is a 4-square. Okay. Now traditionally 4-squares are built for a single band. I'm trying to build a relay box that is usable on, whatever band you want to build it for. Okay. So very similar to what we did with the one phasing cable for 3 elements or 2 elements. Trying to do the same thing here. So I'm going to construct it basically the same way, quarter wavelengths between the elements. We're looking at equal lengths of coax, 2 wavelengths of radials, the relay box, the transmitter. So the whole thing just built the same way. And if we look at it here, okay, I'm going to change these phasing angles real quick. And we're going to look at it from a traditional phase where they typically phase 2 elements at 90 degrees on the same side. So if we look at this in the view, this is element 3 and this is element 4, okay? I'm going to change this around so we can see the x-axis. Okay, so here's our x-axis, okay, here. And this is our y-axis. This is positive, positive, okay. And we've got the two elements in the y area positive. We're going to phase them at 90 degrees. So this is one phasing cable. And we're going to have the two, these two elements in the front phased in phase, okay. And these are going to be 90 degrees out of phase. So we take that. This is built for 40 meters. So let's go down here to 40 meters. And we're going to go ahead and calculate this. SWR is off a little bit. I probably need to play around with it just a little bit to get it perfectly right for this type of phasing. But here's our far field plot. Ooh, wait a minute. I screwed something up there. Oh, I see what I did. That makes sense. Okay. I didn't put the phase on the right one. Okay, so now let's recalculate this. See, we all make mistakes. Okay, so we get a nice cardioid pattern here with this bubble off the back, and that's the only disadvantage to that is the front to back is not as good as it could be. We get 6.9 dB, so 7 dB isolation on the front to back. We get 6.2, beam width is going to be 37, so 3, 13, 23, 33, 43, 53, so 53 degrees, 106 degrees. So yeah, you would be able to cover all four directions of the compass, you know, and the way this changes, if we do it wire 2 and 3, 90 and 0, calculate. That gives us that weird pattern. Something's not right there. All right, so let's do 1 and 4. Calculate here. I don't know why I'm getting this weird pattern. I shouldn't be, but I am. Okay, I need to look at that. But again, we can do 1 and 2, 90 and 90. Calculate. And it should give us, yeah, it gives us that pattern. Maybe it's I'm just putting the wrong ones in phase. Okay, so I got those two in phase. So I want these two in phase, which is 3 and 1. Okay, so let's do 3 and 1. 1, 0, and 3. And do calculation there. I think I was doing the crisscross across it. Yeah, so that's where you have to be on the same side. I was not paying attention to my elements were at. So anyways, that's our pattern. But what I want to try is doing a little different here. So I'm going to phase this with two phasing lines. Let's try 90, 90, and 180. Okay? And let's do the calculation there. And we get a weird looking pattern, okay? But it works, okay? 6.9 dB gain, which is a lot of gain. The front to back, 8 to 1. So we can tune this a little bit. So let's look at this and geometry, and let's change this now. And let's do 90 and 45 and 45. And I think the ratio using your main phasing angle and then half works really well. So at least from my experiments it has. Okay, so now we get a pattern that looks like that, and that's a pretty nice pattern. We got 6.6 dB a gain. Front to back is what, 15, 16, so that's going to be really useful for that. And we can try it a couple different ways: 33, 33, 66. These are all numbers I've experimented with, so that's why I know them off the top of my head. And there we go. That's that nice cardioid pattern, right? So now we've got 6.2 on the front, and we've got 35 dB of isolation on the backside, which is insane. And then we'd have a pattern width of, I think it was what, 3 dB. 135 minus 74, so I hate doing this. That's 9, 19, 29, 39, 49, 59, so 100, and just call it 120 degrees. So you got some overlap between your corners, would be great. Now just to see what we would look like if we did 39, 39, and that would be 78. just for giggles to see what this would look like. Calculate. This is what the pattern would look like with Collins phasing. That's not a bad pattern. I would be very happy with that too, but I think if I was going to build this, and I'm going to build it, I would be doing 33, 33, and 66, and getting this pattern right here. That's an awesome pattern. That just really is an awesome pattern. And if we look at the elevation at 5 degrees, we've got, yeah, we're 5 dB better than a single vertical with great isolation off the backside. So all day long, that would be a really, really good antenna. And I'm sure we could play around a little bit with the phasing angles and bring down this lobe a little closer to the ground. Maybe add some radials to it, and try to draw this down just a little bit. But overall, a really spectacular antenna. So again, like I said, I'm building this array. I've got all the parts and pieces in, but since I found Collins' video, I was trying to put this together for Winter Field Day. Right now it's early January. I think it's the 9th today, which would give me about 20 days to build it. I think I can do it, but I really like the pattern on that 3, and I know the 3's tested and ready to go, and since we are trying to compete for a very big win for Winter Field Day, our team for 4 years in a row has been second in the nation, and we really want number 1. So I think we're going to go with the 3-element array on 40 and a 3-element array on 20, and then we'll put up a big 80-meter or 160-meter loop for the 3 antennas we're going to run, and we'll save the 4 square so I can test it beforehand, and we'll save that one for Summer Field Day, and we'll bring that gun out and see how it does Summer Field Day after it's been tested. But anyways, I just wanted to talk a little further about these antennas and share some of the research I've come up with in the last little bit. I've had a lot of fun researching it, and I think I went down the rabbit hole, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff to this, and there's some disagreement between the ways of phasing it, using something like a hybrid coupler versus the way I'm trying to do it, using a hybrid of the Chrisman method. So I don't know, but I enjoy experimenting with this, and I encourage you to experiment with it. Please learn to use the modeling software, whether it's MMANA, Easy NEC, 4NEC2, any of those. They're all free now. Okay, Easy NEC went free January 1st, so you can download it. I'll put some links down in the comments, both to Collins' channel. Check him out. He's got some really unique stuff. The guy's pretty brilliant. I enjoyed watching videos. I've got to go through and kind of do a binge on his videos. And on also, I'll put you some links to 4NEC2, MMANA-GAL, and the link for Easy NEC, so that you guys can take a look at all the different modeling software. So again, I hope you find value to what I'm doing here. If you do, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll know when I put up new videos. And I have to thank Callum and a few of the other guys from DX Commander on their channel. They shared the link to my channel, and my subscribers has dramatically increased over the last couple weeks. So thank you, gentlemen, for that. And I appreciate everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Again, I hope you find value. I hope you find this entertaining. We're going to do a few more antenna stuff, and then we're going to do some entertaining things too. I've got some things that I've written about for our newsletter that I think might be interesting videos, or at least fun videos. So anyways, stay healthy, stay safe. I bid you all a fine 73, and God bless you all. And stay passionate about amateur radio, because you know I am. NJ4Z, and I'm out.